In the quiet corners of North American forests, where dappled sunlight filters through ancient oak trees, lives a remarkable creature known as the box turtle. These gentle reptiles, moving slowly through leaf litter and woodland understory, carry their homes upon their backs in the form of high-domed shells that have inspired their common name. The box turtle's most distinctive feature is its hinged plastron, the lower part of its shell, which allows the turtle to close itself completely inside when threatened. This remarkable adaptation functions like a living fortress, with the front and rear sections of the plastron pulling up tightly against the upper shell, or carapace, creating an impenetrable box that protects the turtle's soft body from predators. There are several species of box turtles, but the eastern box turtle is perhaps the most well-known, dwelling in the deciduous forests and grasslands from Maine to Florida and westward to Michigan and Texas. These turtles display beautiful shell patterns, with each individual bearing unique markings of yellow, orange, and brown against a darker background, like fingerprints that distinguish one turtle from another. Male box turtles can often be identified by their striking red or orange eyes, while females typically have brown or yellow eyes. This sexual dimorphism extends beyond eye color, as males also possess slightly concave plastrons that facilitate mating, whereas females have flat or slightly convex lower shells to accommodate egg development. Box turtles are surprisingly long-lived creatures, with many individuals surviving for 50 to 100 years in the wild. Some documented box turtles have lived well beyond a century, quietly witnessing the passage of human generations while maintaining their ancient routines in forest and field. These remarkable reptiles are true homebodies, spending their entire lives within surprisingly small territories. A box turtle may live its whole life within just a few acres, learning every log, every sunny patch, every reliable food source within its chosen domain. If moved far from their home range, box turtles will often spend years attempting to return, sometimes dying in the attempt. The box turtle's diet reflects the seasonal abundance of their woodland habitats. They are omnivores, feeding on earthworms, slugs, snails, beetles, caterpillars, fallen fruits, mushrooms, flowers, and tender plant shoots. In spring and summer, they consume more protein from invertebrates, while in fall, they feast heavily on berries and fungi to build reserves for winter. Box turtles play an important ecological role as seed dispersers. As they consume fruits and berries, the seeds pass through their digestive systems unharmed and are deposited in new locations along with a packet of fertilizer. Many woodland plant species depend on turtles and other animals for this dispersal service. During the heat of summer days, box turtles often seek shelter beneath logs, in burrows, or under dense vegetation. They are most active during the cooler morning and evening hours, and especially after rainfall, when they emerge to hunt for earthworms and slugs that surface in the damp conditions. Box turtles have excellent color vision and use it to locate their preferred foods. They are particularly attracted to red, orange, and yellow colors, which often indicate ripe fruits and mushrooms. This color preference guides them to some of their favorite foods, including wild strawberries, raspberries, and various species of colorful fungi. The courtship behavior of box turtles is a gentle and deliberate process. Males pursue females during the breeding season, which typically occurs in spring and early summer. The male circles the female, sometimes nipping at her shell and legs, and may perform a bobbing dance before mating occurs. Female box turtles possess the remarkable ability to store sperm for several years after mating. This means a single successful breeding can result in fertile eggs for multiple seasons, ensuring reproductive success even when encounters with males are infrequent. In late spring or early summer, female box turtles search for suitable nesting sites, typically in sunny, well-drained locations with sandy or loamy soil. Using only her hind legs, the female excavates a flask-shaped cavity several inches deep, a process that can take several hours of patient digging. A typical clutch contains 3 to 8 elliptical eggs with soft, leathery shells. After carefully positioning each egg in the nest chamber, the mother covers them with soil and departs, her parental duties complete. The eggs will incubate for 70 to 90 days, warmed by the summer sun and the earth itself. The temperature at which box turtle eggs incubate determines the sex of the hatchlings, a phenomenon known as temperature-dependent sex determination. Warmer temperatures, generally above 82 degrees Fahrenheit, produce more females, while cooler temperatures produce more males. This ancient system has served turtles well for millions of years, but climate change now threatens to disrupt this delicate balance. When baby box turtles emerge from their eggs in late summer or early fall, they are tiny replicas of their parents, measuring only about 1.5 inches in length. Their shells are soft and pliable at first, gradually hardening over their first few years of life. These miniature turtles are the same size as a walnut, perfectly formed but incredibly vulnerable. Hatchling box turtles face a dangerous world filled with predators. Raccoons, skunks, possums, crows, ravens, snakes, and even domestic dogs and cats prey upon these small creatures. The hatchling's soft shells offer little protection, so they rely on camouflage and remaining hidden beneath leaf litter and vegetation for survival. Young box turtles grow relatively quickly during their first 5 to 6 years, adding growth rings to their scuts, the individual plates that make up the shell. After reaching sexual maturity, which occurs between 5 and 10 years of age depending on growing conditions, their growth slows considerably, and the growth rings become harder to distinguish. Box turtles are ectothermic, meaning they rely on external sources of heat to regulate their body temperature. Each morning, they emerge from their overnight shelters to bask in patches of sunlight, absorbing warmth that activates their metabolism and enables them to hunt, digest food, and carry out other life activities. The shell of a box turtle is actually living bone covered by scuts made of keratin, the same material found in human fingernails. The shell is fused to the turtle's spine and ribcage, making it an integral part of the turtle's skeleton rather than simply a protective covering it wears. As box turtles age, their shells may become worn smooth from decades of pushing through underbrush, climbing over logs, and scraping against rocks and soil. Some very old turtles have shells so worn that their youthful patterns are barely visible, like ancient coins rubbed smooth by countless hands. Box turtles have no teeth, but they possess strong, sharp beaks capable of tearing through tough mushrooms, biting into fruits, and capturing prey. The edges of these beaks are continually worn down and regrown throughout the turtle's life, maintaining their effectiveness as eating tools. During hot summer weather, box turtles may enter a state of reduced activity called estivation, similar to hibernation but occurring in response to heat and drought rather than cold. They bury themselves in mud or leaf litter and remain dormant until cooler, wetter conditions return. Box turtles have a remarkable homing ability, likely using a combination of magnetic fields, visual landmarks, and possibly even smell to navigate their territories. Studies have shown that displaced box turtles can orient themselves in the direction of their home ranges even when released in completely unfamiliar terrain miles away. The shell's carapace grows from both the edges and from the center of each scute, creating the visible growth rings. However, these rings are not always reliable indicators of age in older turtles, as growth slows with age and the rings may wear away or become difficult to distinguish. Box turtles communicate primarily through visual signals and direct contact rather than vocalizations. During courtship and territorial encounters, males may bob their heads, extend their necks, and position their bodies in specific ways to signal intent to other turtles. The box turtle's ability to completely seal itself within its shell is not present at birth. Young turtles have smaller, more flexible shells that don't close as tightly, leaving them more vulnerable to predators. Only as they mature does the hinge become fully functional and the shell large enough to provide complete protection. As autumn arrives and temperatures begin to drop, box turtles prepare for the long winter ahead. They increase their feeding activity, building up fat reserves that will sustain them through months of hibernation when no food will be consumed and metabolic processes slow to a bare minimum. Box turtles hibernate, or more technically brumate, during the cold winter months. In northern parts of their range, this dormant period may last from October through April, while in southern regions, turtles may remain active year-round with only brief periods of inactivity during the coldest weather. To survive winter, box turtles dig into soft soil, often burrowing beneath tree roots, into hillsides, or under deep leaf litter. They may excavate chambers several feet below the surface, deep enough to remain below the frost line where temperatures stay above freezing even when the surface is frozen solid. During brumation, a box turtle's heart rate and breathing slow dramatically. A turtle that normally breathes several times per minute may take only 1 or 2 breaths per hour during the deepest part of winter dormancy. This extraordinary metabolic suppression allows the turtle to survive months without food or water. Box turtles can survive freezing temperatures to some degree, but prolonged exposure to hard freezes can be fatal. The depth of their hibernation chamber is crucial for survival, as they must remain in the zone where soil temperatures stay relatively stable and above deadly lows. Some box turtles hibernate communally, with multiple individuals sharing the same hibernation site. These aggregations may form when turtles return year after year to particularly suitable overwintering locations, such as south-facing slopes with well-drained soil and protective vegetation. The emergence from hibernation in spring is a gradual process triggered by warming soil temperatures. Box turtles don't simply wake up one morning. Instead, they slowly increase their activity over several days or weeks, occasionally returning to their burrows during cold snaps before fully committing to the active season. After emerging from brumation, box turtles are often observed drinking deeply from puddles, streams, and rain-soaked vegetation. This rehydration is crucial after months of dormancy, and many turtles will soak in shallow water for extended periods to replenish moisture lost during winter. Spring is a time of renewed activity and courtship for box turtles. Males become particularly active, wandering more widely than usual in search of potential mates. This increased movement makes spring one of the most dangerous times for box turtles, as they are more likely to encounter roads and other hazards. The box turtle's shell provides protection not only from predators but also from environmental challenges. During droughts, the ability to seal within the shell helps reduce water loss, while during fires, turtles sealed in their shells have a better chance of surviving the passage of flames if they cannot escape to safety. Box turtles shed the outer layer of their scuts periodically, much like snakes shed their skin. However, unlike snakes, turtles shed in patches and pieces rather than all at once, and the process is so gradual that it often goes unnoticed by casual observers. The coloration and patterning of box turtle shells serves multiple purposes. The complex patterns break up the turtle's outline when viewed against the varied backdrop of the forest floor, providing camouflage that helps them blend into their surroundings and avoid detection by predators. During rainy weather, box turtles become especially active, taking advantage of the abundance of worms and slugs that emerge when the soil is saturated. These rainy day feasts are important opportunities to consume protein-rich prey that is otherwise hidden underground. The forests that box turtles call home are complex ecosystems where these reptiles have lived for thousands of years. Eastern box turtles prefer deciduous and mixed woodlands with open canopies that allow sunlight to reach the forest floor, creating the warm microclimates and diverse plant communities they need to thrive. Within their forest territories, box turtles develop detailed knowledge of resources and landmarks. They remember the locations of reliable food sources, such as mulberry trees that drop fruit in summer or oak trees whose acorns provide autumn nutrition, returning to these spots year after year with remarkable consistency. Box turtles often follow the same paths repeatedly, creating subtle trails through the leaf litter. These trails connect important areas within their home range: feeding sites, water sources, basking spots, and sheltering locations. Over decades, a turtle's movements inscribe invisible maps across the landscape. Wetlands and seasonal pools within forested areas are important resources for box turtles. These water sources provide drinking water, soaking opportunities that help with hydration and shedding, and hunting grounds where turtles can capture aquatic prey like tadpoles and aquatic insects. The three-toed box turtle, a species found in the south-central United States, inhabits a slightly different environment than its eastern cousin. These turtles often live in more open habitats, including prairies, grasslands, and bottomland forests, though they share many behavioral traits with eastern box turtles. Box turtles are surprisingly adept climbers when necessary, using their strong legs and claws to scale logs, rocks, and even chain-link fences in some cases. This climbing ability helps them access food, escape flooding, and navigate the three-dimensional landscape of their woodland homes. The ornate box turtle, found in the Great Plains states, represents another variation on the box turtle theme. These prairie-dwelling turtles have flatter shells than their forest-dwelling relatives, an adaptation that may help them navigate through grassland vegetation and squeeze into small spaces. Fallen logs are critical features in box turtle habitat. These decomposing structures provide shelter, foraging opportunities where insects and other invertebrates are abundant, and important thermal refugia where turtles can escape extreme temperatures. A single large log may be used by generations of turtles. Box turtles contribute to forest health in ways that are often invisible to human observers. By consuming fungi, including species toxic to many animals, turtles help control fungal populations and disperse spores to new locations, supporting the mycorrhizal networks that nourish forest trees. The box turtle's relationship with fungi is particularly fascinating. They can safely consume mushrooms that would be deadly to humans, including certain species of Amanita. Their digestive systems appear to neutralize or tolerate toxins that would cause severe illness or death in mammals. Edge habitats, where forests meet fields or where different forest types come together, are particularly attractive to box turtles. These transitional zones offer diverse food resources, varied microclimates, and the structural diversity that turtles use to meet their daily needs throughout the changing seasons. Box turtles need access to both sunny and shaded areas within their territories. Open patches allow for basking and warming, while shaded forest floor provides cooling during hot weather and protects against dehydration. This mosaic of conditions is essential for their survival. The loss and fragmentation of forest habitat represents one of the greatest threats to box turtle populations. When forests are cleared or divided by roads and development, turtle populations become isolated, reducing genetic diversity and making local extinctions more likely. Box turtles perceive the world through senses that are in some ways similar to ours and in other ways remarkably different. Their vision is well developed, with eyes positioned on the sides of their heads providing a wide field of view that helps them detect both food and potential threats. The color vision of box turtles is superior to that of many mammals. They can see into the red and orange portions of the spectrum particularly well, which helps them locate ripe fruits and colorful mushrooms against the browns and greens of the forest floor. Box turtles have no external ears, but they can detect vibrations and low-frequency sounds through internal structures. When a person approaches through the forest, a box turtle may sense the footfalls through ground vibrations before any visual contact occurs. The sense of smell is important to box turtles, particularly for locating food. They have specialized olfactory receptors that allow them to detect the scent of ripening fruits, decomposing carrion, and other food sources from considerable distances, guiding them toward meals hidden beneath vegetation. Box turtles can also use a behavior called gular pumping, where they pulse the floor of their mouth to move air across olfactory receptors and enhance their ability to analyze scents. This behavior is sometimes visible when a turtle is investigating a potential food item or exploring new territory. Touch is an important sense for box turtles, despite the protection offered by their shells. The shell contains nerve endings that allow turtles to feel pressure, touch, and temperature. A turtle can feel when something touches its shell, though the sensation is diminished compared to touching the soft skin. Box turtles have relatively simple brains compared to mammals, yet they demonstrate learning ability and spatial memory that rivals some vertebrates once considered far more intelligent. They can remember complex routes through their territories and modify their behavior based on experience. Studies have shown that box turtles can learn to navigate mazes and remember solutions to problems for months or even years. This cognitive ability serves them well in their natural environment, where remembering the locations of resources across a multi-acre territory is essential for survival. The box turtle's jaw is powerful despite the animal's generally gentle nature. The muscles that close the beak can exert surprising force, allowing turtles to crush hard-shelled prey like snails and tear through tough plant material. This strength is hidden beneath their placid exterior. Box turtles have relatively poor hearing compared to mammals, but they are sensitive to vibrations traveling through the ground and water. This seismic sensitivity helps them detect approaching animals and may play a role in their ability to sense weather changes. When investigating potential food, box turtles often extend their necks fully and move their heads from side to side, a behavior that helps them view objects from different angles and assess whether something is edible. This deliberate investigation reflects their cautious nature. The placement of the eyes on the sides of the head provides box turtles with a wide field of view, nearly 360 degrees including some binocular overlap in front. However, this comes at the cost of depth perception, which is less precise than in animals with forward-facing eyes. Box turtles can likely perceive polarized light, an ability that may help them navigate and orient themselves within their territories. Many reptiles possess this ability, using it to compensate for their relatively poor night vision and to navigate under various lighting conditions. Throughout their long lives, box turtles face numerous challenges to survival. As hatchlings and juveniles, they are vulnerable to a wide array of predators. Raccoons are particularly efficient predators of turtle eggs and young turtles, using their dexterous paws to dig up nests and their strength to break shells. Adult box turtles, with their ability to close completely within their shells, are safer from predators than youngsters, but they are not invulnerable. Determined predators like coyotes and large raccoons can sometimes break through the shell, and fire ants have been known to kill turtles that cannot escape their swarming attacks. The most significant threat to box turtles in the modern world is habitat loss. As forests are cleared for development, agriculture, and other human uses, box turtle populations lose the complex woodland ecosystems they need to survive. Even partial habitat loss can be devastating to these long-lived, territory-faithful animals. Road mortality represents an acute threat to box turtle populations. Turtles attempting to cross roads are struck by vehicles, and even low levels of road mortality can cause population declines. Female turtles searching for nesting sites and males searching for mates are particularly vulnerable to this threat. The illegal pet trade has impacted box turtle populations in some areas. Although box turtles are now protected by laws in many states, illegal collection continues. Wild-caught turtles often die in captivity, and even those that survive rarely contribute to wild population recovery if eventually released. Agricultural chemicals, including pesticides and herbicides, pose risks to box turtles both directly through toxic exposure and indirectly by reducing populations of the insects and other invertebrates they depend on for food. The accumulation of these chemicals in turtle tissues can affect their health and reproductive success. Climate change threatens box turtles through multiple mechanisms. Rising temperatures affect the sex ratios of hatchlings, potentially producing too many of one sex. Changed precipitation patterns affect food availability and habitat quality. More frequent extreme weather events can cause direct mortality. Box turtles cannot quickly adapt to rapid environmental changes. Their long generation times, with sexual maturity reached after many years and reproductive output spread across decades, mean that populations respond slowly to selective pressures. What worked for countless generations may fail in rapidly changing conditions. Domestic dogs pose a significant threat to box turtles in areas where human habitation overlaps with turtle habitat. Dogs may harass, injure, or kill turtles they encounter, and even non-fatal injuries can have serious consequences for turtles' long-term survival. Lawn maintenance equipment, including mowers and trimmers, kills many box turtles each year. Turtles resting in tall grass or at lawn edges are difficult to see and may be struck before the operator realizes they are present. These deaths are preventable with increased awareness. Turtles crossing roads often pause in the middle, confused by the unfamiliar open space and hard surface. This behavior, which may serve them well when crossing fallen logs or moving through underbrush, becomes deadly on roadways where pausing in traffic greatly increases the chances of being struck. The collection of box turtles for classroom pets or temporary exhibition has long impacted wild populations. Even well-meaning educators who release turtles after short periods in captivity may doom them if release occurs far from capture sites, as displaced turtles often die attempting to return to their home ranges. Parasites and diseases affect box turtles, though healthy individuals can typically manage moderate parasite loads without serious harm. However, stressed turtles weakened by habitat degradation, injury, or other factors may succumb to infections that healthy turtles would resist. Fire is a natural part of many box turtle habitats, particularly in prairie and open woodland ecosystems. While turtles can sometimes survive fires by sealing in their shells or retreating to burrows, more frequent or intense fires resulting from changing climate and land use patterns may exceed their adaptive capacity. Box turtles exist within complex webs of ecological relationships, interacting with countless other species in ways that shape forest ecosystems. Their role as omnivores places them in multiple positions within food webs, functioning as both predators of invertebrates and prey species for larger animals. The relationship between box turtles and mushrooms is particularly intricate. Beyond simply consuming fungi as food, turtles help disperse fungal spores across the landscape. Many mushroom species rely on animals to spread their spores, and box turtles are important partners in this process. Certain plant species have evolved fruits specifically to attract animals like box turtles to serve as seed dispersers. The bright colors, soft flesh, and nutritional rewards offered by these fruits represent millions of years of coevolution between plants and the animals that help them reproduce. Box turtles sometimes create microhabitats for other organisms. The forms, or shallow depressions, where turtles rest in leaf litter or soft soil may later be used by other small animals as shelter. Their burrows and hibernation chambers can become homes for other creatures after the turtles depart. Ticks and mites often attach to box turtles, creating a challenge for these reptiles that cannot reach many parts of their own bodies. Some turtles address this problem through behaviors like soaking in water or brushing against vegetation, while others simply tolerate their passengers. Box turtles have been observed engaging in unusual behavior after consuming certain mushrooms, appearing disoriented or exhibiting abnormal movements. Some researchers hypothesize that turtles may deliberately seek out psychoactive fungi, though the purpose and significance of this behavior remains unclear. The turtle's digestive system is surprisingly efficient at breaking down and extracting nutrients from the varied diet they consume. The relatively long digestive tract and slow passage time allow maximum nutrient absorption from both plant and animal matter. Box turtles play a role in controlling invertebrate populations, consuming significant numbers of slugs, snails, beetles, and caterpillars over their long lifetimes. A single turtle may consume thousands of invertebrates per year, influencing the abundance and distribution of these smaller animals. The empty shells of deceased box turtles persist in the environment for years or even decades, slowly decomposing and returning minerals to the soil. These shells provide calcium and other nutrients to the forest ecosystem and may be gnawed on by rodents seeking supplemental minerals. Box turtles share their habitats with numerous other turtle species, including wood turtles, spotted turtles, and various aquatic species. Where ranges overlap, these different species partition resources by using different microhabitats and consuming somewhat different foods. The presence of box turtles in a forest indicates habitat quality. Their requirements for diverse vegetation, varied topography, water sources, and relative freedom from human disturbance mean that areas supporting healthy box turtle populations are likely to support diverse communities of other species. Box turtles have few natural predators as adults, but this has not always been the case. Fossil evidence suggests that in past epochs, larger predators capable of breaking turtle shells were more common. The current relative safety of adult turtles may be a recent phenomenon in evolutionary terms. Bacterial and fungal communities in the soil benefit from turtle activity. As turtles move through leaf litter, dig in soil, and deposit waste, they mix and aerate the substrate, influencing the composition and distribution of microbial communities that drive nutrient cycling in forest ecosystems. A typical summer day for a box turtle begins in the early morning hours when the first light filters through the forest canopy. The turtle emerges from its overnight shelter, perhaps a form beneath a log or a shallow depression in soft soil, moving slowly as its body temperature rises. Morning basking is essential for bringing the turtle's body temperature up to functional levels. The turtle may climb onto a fallen log or move to a patch of ground where sunlight penetrates the canopy, orienting its body to maximize heat absorption. This process may take an hour or more on cool mornings. Once adequately warmed, the turtle begins its daily foraging activities. Movement through the forest is deliberate and methodical, with the turtle investigating potential food items encountered along familiar routes. A mushroom here, a cluster of berries there, perhaps an earthworm crossing a patch of bare soil. Box turtles spend considerable time each day simply resting, conserving energy while remaining alert to opportunities and dangers. A turtle may remain motionless for long periods, its shell providing protection while it observes the forest activity around it through ancient, knowing eyes. Midday, particularly during hot weather, often finds box turtles resting in shaded locations. They may retreat into dense vegetation, beneath overhanging banks, or into shallow water if available. This behavioral thermoregulation helps them avoid overheating and conserve precious moisture. Late afternoon and evening bring renewed activity as temperatures moderate. Turtles may resume foraging, and in the breeding season, males particularly may travel in search of mates. These twilight hours are often the most active time of day for box turtles in summer. As darkness approaches, box turtles seek shelter for the night. They may return to the same sleeping locations repeatedly if these spots provide good protection and thermal stability. The turtle tucks itself into its shell, drawing in its head and legs, ready to respond to any nighttime disturbances. Throughout the day, turtles drink when they encounter water. They may drink from puddles, streams, or droplets on vegetation, using their mouths to sip water. After rain, turtles often drink deeply, replenishing fluids lost to evaporation and metabolic processes. Box turtles are opportunistic in their daily activities, adjusting their behavior based on weather, food availability, and season. A turtle might spend an entire day near a fruiting bush, gorging on ripe berries, or might travel considerable distances if food is scarce or conditions are favorable for exploration. Social interactions between box turtles are generally brief and occur primarily during the breeding season. Outside of mating, turtles are essentially solitary, though multiple individuals may use the same resources like water sources or particularly favorable basking sites without apparent conflict. The pace of life for a box turtle is measured and unhurried. These creatures do not rush, cannot rush, and have no reason to rush. Their slow metabolism and cold-blooded nature mean they need far less food than a mammal of similar size, allowing them to survive on food sources that mammals might consider inadequate. Box turtles spend significant time investigating their environment through slow, careful exploration. This behavior helps them maintain their detailed mental maps of home territories, updating information about food sources, shelter sites, and potential dangers encountered during their wanderings. On rainy days, box turtle activity increases dramatically. The wet conditions are ideal for finding earthworms and slugs, and the cool, moist air reduces risk of overheating and dehydration. Turtles may travel farther and be more active during rain than on dry days. The box turtle lineage is ancient, with fossil evidence suggesting that box turtles similar to modern species have existed for millions of years. These reptiles are living links to prehistoric eras, their basic body plan proving so successful that it has required little modification over vast spans of time. The hinged plastron that gives box turtles their name is a relatively recent evolutionary innovation in turtle history. This feature evolved as an adaptation for terrestrial life, providing protection that allowed these turtles to thrive on land rather than in aquatic environments. Box turtles belong to the family Emididae, which also includes many aquatic and semi-aquatic turtle species. This family relationship suggests that box turtles' terrestrial lifestyle evolved from aquatic ancestors, with the species gradually adapting to life on land while retaining some connections to water. The high domed shell of box turtles, while less streamlined than the flatter shells of aquatic species, provides more internal space for organs and offers structural strength that helps protect against crushing forces. This dome shape represents a trade-off between mobility and protection. Box turtles' relatively short limbs and elephantine, stumpy feet are well suited for terrestrial locomotion. Unlike the webbed feet of aquatic turtles or the flipper-like appendages of sea turtles, box turtle feet are designed for walking through forest terrain and digging in soil. The strong, curved claws on box turtle feet serve multiple functions. These tools help in climbing over obstacles, excavating nests and hibernation chambers, and maintaining traction on various surfaces. The wear patterns on old turtles' claws tell stories of decades spent navigating their territories. Box turtles have adapted to temperate climates with distinct seasons, a lifestyle quite different from their tropical relatives. The ability to hibernate through cold winters allowed box turtles to colonize northern regions unavailable to cold-sensitive reptile species. The box turtle's scuts grow throughout the animal's life, though growth rate decreases with age. This continuous growth must balance protection with weight, as an overly heavy shell would be burdensome to carry. The turtle's body somehow regulates this growth to maintain optimal proportions. Box turtles' eyes are positioned to provide excellent peripheral vision but limited depth perception. This visual arrangement favors detecting movement across a wide field of view over precisely judging distances, reflecting their need to spot potential predators more than to pursue fast-moving prey. The lack of teeth in box turtles is common among all modern turtles, a feature inherited from their ancient ancestors. The horny beak that replaces teeth is lighter, requires less maintenance, and provides a durable tool for processing the varied diet box turtles consume. Box turtles have relatively large livers compared to many reptiles, an adaptation that may help process the various toxins found in wild mushrooms and other foods they consume. This physiological feature allows them to exploit food sources unavailable to more toxin-sensitive species. The box turtle's relatively slow metabolism compared to mammals is both a limitation and an advantage. While they cannot sustain high activity levels or maintain constant body temperature, their low energy requirements mean they can survive on far less food and endure long periods without eating. The immune system of box turtles is sophisticated enough to handle the various pathogens they encounter, yet operates at cooler temperatures than mammalian immune systems. This cold-blooded immunity functions differently from warm-blooded systems but proves effective within its thermal constraints. Box turtles demonstrate remarkable resistance to certain environmental stresses. They can survive significant blood loss, heal from substantial injuries, and tolerate conditions that would be quickly fatal to many other animals. This resilience contributes to their potential for extreme longevity. Box turtle populations have declined significantly across much of their range over the past century. These declines result from habitat loss, road mortality, collection for the pet trade, and other human-related factors. In many states, box turtles are now listed as species of special concern or threatened. Legal protections for box turtles vary by state. Some states prohibit collection entirely, while others allow limited take for personal possession. Despite legal protections, enforcement is challenging, and illegal collection continues to impact wild populations in some areas. Conservation efforts for box turtles focus on habitat protection and restoration, reducing road mortality through wildlife crossing structures and warning signs, and education programs to discourage collection from the wild. These multi-pronged approaches address the various threats these animals face. Captive breeding programs exist for some box turtle populations, particularly those from severely depleted areas. However, reintroduction of captive-bred turtles faces challenges, including disease transmission risks, genetic concerns, and the difficulty of teaching captive-raised turtles the skills they need for wild survival. Researchers study box turtle populations using various methods, including radiotelemetry, where small transmitters are attached to shells, allowing scientists to track movements and behavior. These studies have revealed much about turtle ecology and the impacts of human activities on populations. Citizen science programs engage the public in box turtle conservation by encouraging people to report turtle sightings, report road mortality, and participate in population surveys. These programs generate valuable data while raising awareness about turtle conservation needs. Genetic studies of box turtle populations have revealed significant genetic structure, with distinct population groups showing reduced gene flow between them. This fragmentation concerns conservationists, as genetic diversity is essential for long-term population viability and adaptability. The long lifespan and delayed sexual maturity of box turtles make populations slow to recover from declines. Even if all mortality sources were eliminated today, it would take decades for populations to rebound, assuming sufficient breeding adults remain and suitable habitat exists. Some private landowners actively manage their properties to benefit box turtles, maintaining forest patches, controlling invasive species, and creating habitat features like brush piles and pools. These private conservation efforts are increasingly important as public lands face mounting pressures. Box turtles serve as flagship species for broader habitat conservation. Protecting the diverse, structurally complex habitats these turtles need simultaneously benefits countless other species, from salamanders and songbirds to wildflowers and fungi. Education programs teach people how to help box turtles they encounter safely. The appropriate action when finding a turtle on a road is to move it across in the direction it was heading, not to take it home or move it far from where it was found. Climate change adaptation strategies for box turtle conservation include protecting climate refugia, establishing habitat corridors that allow populations to shift ranges as conditions change, and potentially managing nest temperatures to maintain balanced sex ratios in hatchlings. The economic value of box turtles is difficult to quantify but includes ecosystem services like seed dispersal and pest control, as well as intangible values like their contribution to biodiversity and their cultural significance. These values argue for dedicating resources to their conservation. In January and February, box turtles across much of their range lie dormant in their hibernation chambers. Deep beneath the frozen surface, these ancient creatures maintain a state of suspended animation, their heart rates barely perceptible, waiting for spring's warmth to call them back to active life. March brings tentative stirrings in southern populations, though northern turtles may remain dormant for several more weeks. The first turtles to emerge are often males, who have shorter hibernation periods on average than females and begin searching for food and mates early in the season. April sees widespread emergence as soil temperatures rise and spring rains soften the ground. These newly active turtles are hungry after months of fasting, and they feed heavily on early spring foods like earthworms, emerging insects, and the first green shoots of vegetation. May is courtship season for many box turtle populations. Males actively search for females, sometimes traveling well beyond their normal home ranges in their quest for mates. The forests ring with unseen dramas as turtles find each other and engage in the ancient rituals of reproduction. June brings warm weather and abundant food. Female turtles that mated in spring begin searching for nesting sites, using their keen senses to assess soil quality, sun exposure, and drainage. The careful selection of nest sites represents a critical investment in the survival of their offspring. July's heat drives many turtles to seek shade during the brightest hours, but early mornings and evenings see active foraging. Summer fruits begin ripening, and turtles feast on blackberries, raspberries, and wild cherries, seeds passing through their digestive systems to be planted elsewhere. August continues the summer pattern, though turtle activity may decrease during the hottest periods. Some turtles estivate during extreme heat, reducing their activity and metabolic rate until cooler conditions return. Late summer brings a bounty of ripe fruits and abundant invertebrate prey. September marks the beginning of transition as days shorten and temperatures moderate. Box turtles increase their feeding activity, building fat reserves for the coming winter. Young turtles that hatched in late summer emerge from their nests and face their first autumn as independent creatures. October sees accelerating preparation for hibernation. Turtles feed heavily on remaining fruits, particularly acorns and other nuts when available. As temperatures drop, turtle activity decreases, and individuals begin seeking or excavating hibernation sites. November brings the onset of dormancy for northern populations, though southern turtles may remain active during warm spells. The forest floor becomes quiet as turtles settle into their winter quarters, beginning the long months of metabolic suppression that will carry them through to spring. December finds most box turtles in deep brumation, buried beneath the Earth's protective blanket. Their slow heartbeats and minimal breathing barely maintain life, a remarkable physiological feat that allows them to survive conditions that would quickly kill active animals. Throughout the year, box turtles demonstrate their exquisite adaptation to temperate climates, their behavior and physiology responding to the changing seasons with patterns refined over countless generations. Each year completed is another chapter in lives that may span a century or more. Box turtles possess the remarkable ability to hold their breath for extended periods, a feature inherited from their aquatic ancestors. While they don't spend significant time in water, this adaptation allows them to submerge briefly when crossing streams or escaping danger through water. The lungs of box turtles are large relative to body size and situated just beneath the carapace. When a turtle withdraws into its shell, the lungs compress somewhat, but the turtle can maintain adequate oxygen supply for the duration it remains sealed, which may be hours if a predator maintains its attention. Box turtles can drink through both their mouths and cloaca, the posterior opening that serves multiple functions. This ability to absorb water through the cloaca is particularly useful when turtles are soaking in shallow water, allowing efficient rehydration without the need to drink actively. The shell of a box turtle can regenerate to some degree if damaged. Small cracks and injuries may heal over time as the living tissue beneath repairs itself. However, severe shell damage can be fatal or leave permanent weakness that makes the turtle more vulnerable. Box turtles sometimes make hissing sounds when threatened, produced by rapid withdrawal of the head and limbs forcing air from the lungs. This sound may startle predators or signal distress, though box turtles are generally silent creatures. Individual box turtles develop personalities that become apparent to patient observers. Some individuals are bold and curious, quick to emerge from their shells after disturbance. Others are timid, remaining tightly sealed at the slightest provocation. These personality differences may affect survival and reproductive success. Box turtles have been observed exhibiting tool-use behavior in captivity, using objects to aid in escaping enclosures. This cognitive flexibility suggests intelligence beyond what is typically attributed to reptiles and hints at complex problem-solving abilities that serve them in their natural environment. The heart of a box turtle has 3 chambers rather than the 4 chambers found in mammalian hearts. Despite this difference, the turtle's circulatory system efficiently delivers oxygen and nutrients throughout the body, operating effectively at the cooler temperatures these ectotherms maintain. Box turtles can survive significant periods without food, drawing on fat reserves accumulated during abundant times. An adult turtle can potentially survive a year or more without eating, though such extreme fasting would occur only under unusual circumstances like being trapped or during extended hibernation. The growth rate of box turtles is influenced by numerous factors including temperature, food availability, genetics, and habitat quality. Turtles in optimal conditions with abundant food grow faster than those in marginal habitats, leading to significant size variation among individuals of the same age. Box turtles exhibit site fidelity not only to their home ranges but also to specific locations within those ranges. Turtles may return to the same basking log, the same fruit-bearing tree, or the same hibernation site year after year, demonstrating spatial memory that persists across seasons of dormancy. When box turtles encounter each other outside the breeding season, interactions are typically brief and non-confrontational. Turtles may acknowledge each other's presence but generally go their separate ways without conflict, maintaining the social spacing that characterizes their essentially solitary lifestyle. The ability of box turtles to survive in modified landscapes varies with the degree of modification. Turtles can persist in forests fragmented by low-density development, but struggle in heavily urbanized areas where habitat is too altered and road mortality is severe. The skeleton of a box turtle is a marvel of evolutionary engineering, with the shell representing a highly modified ribcage and spine fused with dermal bone elements. This integration creates a protective housing that is simultaneously part of the turtle's skeleton and an external shield. Box turtles possess a well-developed brain for reptiles, with areas devoted to spatial navigation and memory particularly enlarged. This neural architecture supports their need to remember complex territories and the locations of resources distributed across their home ranges. The kidneys of box turtles are relatively primitive compared to mammalian kidneys but well suited for the turtle's lifestyle. These organs concentrate waste products while conserving water, important adaptations for animals that may experience periodic water scarcity in their terrestrial habitats. Box turtles have a single bladder that can store water as well as urine. During dry periods, turtles may retain fluid in their bladder, reabsorbing water while allowing waste products to concentrate. This physiological feature helps them survive periods between rainfall or access to drinking water. The tongue of a box turtle is thick and muscular but cannot be extended significantly from the mouth. Unlike some reptiles that use their tongues for capturing prey or sensing chemicals, box turtles rely more heavily on their beaks and their sense of smell for food acquisition and environmental assessment. Box turtle blood differs from mammalian blood in several ways, including having nucleated red blood cells and functioning efficiently at cooler temperatures. The oxygen-carrying capacity of turtle blood is well adapted to the reptile's metabolic needs and the temperatures at which it operates. The digestive system of box turtles includes a relatively simple stomach and a long intestine that maximizes nutrient extraction from the varied diet. The passage of food through this system is slow, particularly at cooler temperatures, taking several days from ingestion to defecation. Box turtles lack a diaphragm, the muscle that separates the thoracic and abdominal cavities in mammals and powers breathing. Instead, turtles ventilate their lungs through movements of their limb girdles and by contracting muscles that change the pressure within the body cavity. The reproductive organs of box turtles are internal, with males possessing a single penis that can be everted through the cloaca during mating. Females have paired ovaries and oviducts where eggs develop before being laid, with shell and membrane formation occurring as eggs move through the reproductive tract. Box turtles regulate their body temperature through behavior rather than internal heat production. This ectothermic strategy requires far less energy than maintaining constant body temperature, but it limits activity to times when environmental conditions allow adequate warming. The eyes of box turtles contain structures that suggest they may see into the ultraviolet spectrum, though this has not been definitively proven. If true, this ability would reveal patterns in flowers and fruits invisible to human observers, potentially aiding food location. Box turtles have relatively small brains compared to their body size, yet they perform sophisticated behaviors including navigation, mate selection, nest site choice, and hibernation site location. This efficiency of neural processing suggests that brain size alone is not the only measure of cognitive capability. The cloacal opening serves multiple functions in box turtles, including excretion, reproduction, and in some circumstances, respiration. This multi-purpose opening is common among reptiles and represents an efficient anatomical solution that reduces the number of external body openings requiring protection. Indigenous peoples of North America knew box turtles well, incorporating them into stories, using shells as rattles and containers, and observing their behavior as indicators of seasonal changes. These relationships between humans and turtles extend back thousands of years to the earliest human presence in turtle habitat. Early European colonists in North America encountered box turtles and sometimes kept them as pets or curiosities. The turtles' ability to survive in captivity and their distinctive shells made them popular, beginning a tradition of turtle keeping that continues today, though with more awareness of conservation concerns. Box turtles have been subjects of scientific study for over a century, contributing to our understanding of reptile biology, ecology, and behavior. Long-term studies tracking individual turtles across decades have provided insights into animal longevity, population dynamics, and the impacts of environmental change. The practice of marking turtle shells with paint or permanent marker to identify individuals, once common, is now discouraged. Research has shown that such markings can affect turtle behavior and survival, possibly by making them more visible to predators or by interfering with thermoregulation. Box turtles occasionally appear in literature and popular culture, usually as symbols of patience, longevity, or connection to nature. Their deliberate pace and ancient lineage make them powerful metaphors for endurance and the value of slow, steady progress. Many people encounter box turtles in their yards or while hiking and feel compelled to help, particularly when finding turtles on roads. While well-intentioned, some forms of help can harm turtles, such as moving them far from where they were found or taking them home as pets. Gardens and yards can support box turtles if managed appropriately. Maintaining some wild areas with leaf litter, avoiding pesticides, providing water sources, and checking carefully before mowing can make suburban properties more turtle-friendly, creating habitat islands in developed landscapes. Some humans form long-term relationships with individual wild box turtles that live on their properties, recognizing particular turtles year after year and observing their behavior without interfering. These observations have contributed valuable natural history information and deepened human appreciation for these creatures. Box turtles in captivity require specialized care to remain healthy, including proper temperature gradients, humidity, varied diet, and adequate space. Many turtles kept as pets suffer from poor care resulting from their keepers' lack of knowledge about their needs, leading to shortened lifespans and poor quality of life. The growing awareness of box turtle conservation needs has led to changes in how turtles are viewed and treated. Increasingly, people understand that wild turtles belong in their natural habitats and that observation rather than collection is the appropriate human response to encountering these animals. Box turtles can carry salmonella bacteria, as can many reptiles, making proper hygiene important for people who handle them. However, the risk of disease transmission can be minimized through simple precautions like handwashing, and should not prevent people from safely assisting turtles in need. The aesthetic appeal of box turtles, with their intricate shell patterns and gentle demeanor, has made them subjects for artists, photographers, and nature enthusiasts. This cultural appreciation can support conservation efforts by creating public support for habitat protection and species management. Rural residents who share their land with box turtles often develop a protective attitude toward these neighbors, taking measures to avoid harming them during property management activities. This land stewardship by private owners is crucial for turtle conservation across much of their range. Ecotourism focused on wildlife observation, including turtle watching, can generate economic value from living turtles while supporting conservation. When properly managed, such activities raise awareness and provide incentives for habitat protection without harming the animals being observed. Children who encounter box turtles often form lasting memories and develop interests in nature and conservation. These early experiences with wildlife can shape attitudes and behaviors that benefit conservation efforts throughout the children's lives as they mature into adults with decision-making power. A common misconception holds that box turtles are tortoises. While box turtles are terrestrial and share some characteristics with tortoises, they belong to a different family and are more closely related to aquatic turtles than to true tortoises. Some people believe that turtle shells are separate from the animal's body and can be removed like a hermit crab's shell. In reality, the shell is living bone and skin, an integral part of the turtle's anatomy that cannot be removed without killing the animal. The myth that a turtle's age can be accurately determined by counting growth rings on its guts persists despite being unreliable. While young turtles add discernible rings, older turtles' rings become worn and difficult to distinguish, making age estimation problematic for mature individuals. Many people assume box turtles need to be near water or wetlands, confusing them with aquatic turtle species. While box turtles drink water and occasionally soak, they are woodland creatures that can live far from permanent water bodies if other habitat requirements are met. The misconception that moving a turtle to a better habitat helps it ignores the critical importance of home range fidelity. Relocated turtles typically attempt to return to their original territories, often dying in the process, making well-meaning relocations harmful rather than helpful. Some believe box turtles are slow learners with minimal intelligence. Research reveals that box turtles possess sophisticated cognitive abilities including spatial memory, navigation skills, and learning capacity that contradicts stereotypes about reptile intelligence. The myth that all box turtles live for over 100 years is an exaggeration of their genuine longevity. While box turtles can live extremely long lives, with some confirmed cases exceeding 100 years, average lifespan in the wild is likely shorter due to predation, disease, and environmental hazards. Many assume box turtles are easy, low-maintenance pets requiring minimal care. The reality is that box turtles have complex needs that are difficult to meet in captivity, and many captive turtles suffer from inadequate husbandry, leading to health problems and shortened lifespans. The belief that box turtles are common and not in need of conservation exists in some areas where turtles are still regularly seen. However, population studies reveal declines even in areas where turtles remain visible, as long-lived adults may persist even as recruitment of young turtles fails. Some people think male and female box turtles can be reliably distinguished by shell pattern or size, but these characteristics are variable. Eye color, plastron shape, and tail characteristics provide more reliable indicators of sex, though even these can be ambiguous in some individuals. The misconception that turtle populations can quickly recover from declines ignores their life history characteristics. Delayed sexual maturity and low reproductive output mean that decades are required for population recovery even under optimal conditions. A persistent myth suggests that box turtles return to their birthplace to lay eggs, similar to sea turtles returning to natal beaches. However, box turtles lay eggs opportunistically in suitable habitat within their territories, not at specific locations where they hatched. Some believe feeding wild box turtles is helpful, but supplemental feeding can disrupt natural behaviors, lead to dependency, attract predators, and spread disease. Wild turtles are best left to find their own natural foods unless injured or in immediate danger. The future of box turtle populations depends on actions taken today to address threats and protect habitat. Without intervention, many populations will continue declining, potentially disappearing from portions of their historical range within the coming decades. Climate change presents uncertain futures for box turtles. Shifting temperature and precipitation patterns may alter habitat suitability, change sex ratios of hatchlings, and affect food availability. How turtle populations will respond to these changes remains an important question for conservation planning. Habitat connectivity is increasingly recognized as crucial for long-term box turtle conservation. Creating corridors that link isolated populations can facilitate genetic exchange, allow range shifts in response to changing conditions, and provide rescue effects where populations struggle. Advances in conservation technology offer new tools for studying and protecting box turtles. GPS tracking devices, genetic analysis techniques, and remote sensing of habitat quality enable more sophisticated research and management than previously possible. Public engagement in turtle conservation continues growing as awareness increases. Citizen science programs, educational initiatives, and community conservation efforts demonstrate that many people care about turtle survival and are willing to take action to support it. The designation of protected areas including state and national parks, wildlife refuges, and nature preserves provide secure habitat for some box turtle populations. Expanding and connecting these protected areas could benefit turtles and countless other species sharing their ecosystems. Reducing road mortality through infrastructure modifications like wildlife crossing structures, fencing, and warning signs can help turtle populations. These engineering solutions, though expensive, can significantly reduce deaths in high mortality locations. Private land conservation through easements, management agreements, and landowner education programs protects turtle habitat across large landscapes. Since much turtle habitat occurs on private land, engaging and supporting private landowners is essential for comprehensive conservation. Captive assurance colonies maintaining genetic diversity of threatened populations provide insurance against extinction while source populations recover. These programs require careful management to maintain genetic health and behavioral competence for potential future release. Legal frameworks protecting box turtles vary by jurisdiction and may need updating to address current threats. Strengthening enforcement of existing protections and extending legal safeguards where inadequate can provide better security for turtle populations. International cooperation on turtle conservation recognizes that some box turtle species have ranges extending across political borders. Coordinated management across jurisdictions can ensure consistent protection and facilitate research and conservation actions at appropriate scales. Long-term monitoring programs track box turtle population trends, providing essential data for evaluating conservation effectiveness and detecting emerging threats. These programs require sustained funding and commitment, but deliver irreplaceable information for adaptive management. Education programs teaching children and adults about box turtles and their conservation needs create constituencies that support protection measures. Informed citizens make better decisions about land use, resource management, and political priorities affecting wildlife. Box turtles share the Earth with approximately 350 species of turtles worldwide, representing millions of years of evolutionary diversification. This diversity includes sea turtles, freshwater turtles, and tortoises, each adapted to particular environments and ways of life. The earliest turtles appeared over 200 million years ago during the Triassic period, making turtles one of the oldest surviving reptile lineages. These ancient turtles possessed shells and the basic body plan that characterizes modern turtles, though early species lacked the ability to retract their heads. Genetic evidence reveals that box turtles' closest relatives are semi-aquatic pond turtles and other terrestrial species within the family Amididae. This relationship suggests that terrestrial box turtles evolved from ancestors that were more aquatic, adapting to land-based life over evolutionary time. Fossil box turtles have been discovered from deposits dating back millions of years, showing that these distinctive turtles have maintained their basic form for extended periods. This evolutionary stability suggests their body plan and lifestyle are highly successful within their ecological niches. Different box turtle species evolved in response to varying environmental conditions across North America. The ornate box turtle adapted to grassland environments, while the eastern box turtle specialized for forest habitats, demonstrating how evolutionary pressures shape species characteristics. The evolution of the hinged plastron represents a significant innovation in turtle anatomy. This feature provided terrestrial turtles with protection comparable to that enjoyed by aquatic turtles, which could escape into water, enabling successful colonization of land environments. Box turtles share a common ancestor with Asian box turtles, demonstrating ancient connections between North American and Asian turtle lineages. These relationships reflect times when land connections existed between continents, allowing species dispersal that is no longer possible. The genus Terrapene, which contains all box turtle species, diverged from other emitid turtles millions of years ago. Within this genus, further speciation produced the distinct box turtle species we recognize today, each occupying somewhat different geographic ranges and habitats. Molecular studies examining box turtle genetics reveal population structure reflecting historical climate cycles. Ice ages fragmented populations into refugia, leading to genetic differentiation that persists today even where populations have expanded from their glacial refuges. The relatively recent evolution of bright coloration in male box turtles suggests that sexual selection has played a role in box turtle evolution. Females apparently prefer males with more vibrant coloration, driving the evolution of the striking red and orange eyes and shell markings seen in many males. Box turtles demonstrate the evolutionary principle of convergent evolution, where unrelated species develop similar adaptations to similar environments. The general body form of box turtles resembles that of tortoises, though the two groups evolved their terrestrial adaptations independently. The fossil record shows that box turtles survived multiple periods of significant climate change, including ice ages and warming periods. This history suggests resilience to environmental variation, though the rate of current change may exceed what box turtles can adapt to through evolutionary mechanisms. Studying box turtle evolution provides insights into broader questions about reptile evolution, adaptation to terrestrial life, and the factors driving species diversification. These living fossils serve as windows into evolutionary processes operating across deep time. The eastern box turtle comprises several subspecies, each adapted to particular regions and displaying subtle differences in appearance and behavior. These subspecies include the common eastern box turtle, the Florida box turtle, and the Gulf Coast box turtle, among others. The three-toed box turtle, despite its name, may have 4 or even 5 toes on its hind feet. The name refers to the typical number of toes on the hind feet, which tends to be fewer than in other box turtle species, though variation exists within the species. Ornate box turtles display more elaborate shell patterns than eastern box turtles, with radiating lines of yellow or orange creating intricate designs against darker backgrounds. This ornamentation gives the species its common name and makes individuals particularly striking in appearance. Florida box turtles, a subspecies of the eastern box turtle, typically have higher domed shells and only 2 toes on each hind foot. They inhabit peninsular Florida and adjacent areas, occupying both pine flatwoods and hardwood hammocks in this subtropical environment. The Gulf Coast box turtle, another eastern box turtle subspecies, often displays striking white or yellow markings on the head and sometimes has a distinct light-colored stripe running down the center of the carapace. These turtles inhabit the coastal plain region of the southeastern United States. Within each box turtle species and subspecies, individual variation is considerable. Shell patterns, coloration intensity, and body size vary based on genetics, environmental conditions during development, and the specific habitats individuals occupy throughout their lives. The Yucatan box turtle and the Coahuilan box turtle represent species found in Mexico, extending the box turtle family beyond the United States. These Mexican species face similar conservation challenges to their northern relatives, including habitat loss and collection pressure. Intergrade zones exist where the ranges of different box turtle subspecies overlap. In these areas, turtles may display characteristics intermediate between subspecies, reflecting hybridization and gene flow between populations that are genetically distinct but not reproductively isolated. Some individual box turtles display unusual coloration patterns including partial or complete albinism, melanism, or other color variations. These unusual individuals demonstrate the genetic variation present within populations and the range of phenotypes possible in box turtles. Geographic variation in box turtle size reflects environmental gradients, with turtles from some regions typically growing larger than those from other areas. Temperature, growing season length, and food availability during the critical growth years all influence ultimate body size. The question of how many distinct box turtle species exist remains subject to scientific debate. Taxonomists continue studying box turtle genetics and morphology, occasionally proposing changes to species and subspecies classifications based on new evidence and analysis methods. Box turtle hybrids between different species or subspecies are occasionally documented, particularly in areas where human activities have moved turtles beyond their natural ranges. These hybrids demonstrate that reproductive barriers between box turtle groups are not absolute. Radiotelemetry revolutionized the study of box turtle behavior and ecology. By attaching small radio transmitters to turtle shells, researchers can locate individual turtles repeatedly, tracking their movements and habitat use with unprecedented detail and accuracy. Mark recapture studies, where individual turtles are marked and relocated over time, provide population data including abundance estimates, survival rates, and movement patterns. Some box turtle studies have continued for decades, creating remarkable long-term datasets. Photographing shell patterns allows identification of individual turtles without physically marking them. Each turtle's unique pattern serves as a natural fingerprint, and photo databases enable researchers to track individuals across years through non-invasive observation. Genetic sampling through blood draws or tissue clips provides information about population structure, relatedness between individuals, and genetic diversity. These molecular techniques reveal aspects of box turtle ecology invisible through observation alone. Motion-activated cameras placed at specific locations record box turtle activity without requiring human presence. These camera traps document behavior, habitat use, and interactions between individuals, providing windows into the secret lives of these elusive reptiles. Temperature data loggers attached to turtle shells or placed in their habitats record the thermal environments turtles experience. This information helps researchers understand thermoregulatory behavior and predict how climate change might affect turtle populations. Stable isotope analysis of turtle tissues reveals information about diet and movement patterns. Different food sources and geographic regions have distinct isotopic signatures, which become incorporated into turtle tissues and persist for months or years. Health assessments of wild box turtles provide baseline data on disease prevalence, parasite loads, body condition, and physiological parameters. This health monitoring can detect emerging threats and track how environmental stressors affect turtle populations. Nest monitoring involves protecting or monitoring turtle nests to determine hatching success, sex ratios, and incubation conditions. This research provides crucial data about reproduction, the most vulnerable life stage for box turtle populations. Population viability analysis uses data from multiple sources to model population dynamics and predict future population trends under various scenarios. These models help conservationists understand which threats are most serious and which management actions might be most effective. Geographic information systems map turtle locations, habitat features, and landscape characteristics, allowing spatial analysis of habitat selection, movement patterns, and the impacts of landscape fragmentation on populations. Behavioral observations document how turtles interact with their environment and each other. Patient watching reveals details of foraging behavior, social interactions, anti-predator responses, and daily activity patterns that inform our understanding of turtle natural history. Box turtles demonstrate spatial learning abilities, developing detailed mental maps of their territories. Experiments show turtles can learn maze layouts and remember solutions, indicating cognitive capabilities that challenge traditional views of reptile intelligence. Individual recognition may occur between box turtles that regularly share overlapping home ranges. While not social in the way mammals are social, turtles may recognize specific individuals and adjust their behavior accordingly based on past encounters. Box turtles modify their behavior based on experience, learning which foods are palatable and which locations are rewarding or dangerous. This behavioral plasticity allows turtles to respond to changing conditions within their lifetimes. Problem-solving abilities in box turtles include figuring out how to access food placed in novel situations and navigating obstacles in their paths. While not rapid learners compared to mammals, turtles can work through problems with persistence and eventually find solutions. Memory retention in box turtles appears to be long-lasting, with some studies suggesting turtles remember spatial information for years. This long-term memory supports their need to remember resource locations across their territories over their long lifespans. Box turtles show evidence of habituation, becoming less responsive to harmless stimuli with repeated exposure. Turtles in areas with regular human activity may become habituated to human presence, withdrawing less readily than turtles in more remote areas. Individual differences in personality and behavior among box turtles suggest cognitive variation within populations. Some turtles are consistently bold while others are consistently shy, differences that may reflect underlying variation in neural function and information processing. The ability of box turtles to orient toward their home ranges when displaced indicates sophisticated navigation abilities. Whether turtles use magnetic fields, sun position, landmarks, or some combination of cues remains an active area of research. Visual discrimination tasks demonstrate that box turtles can distinguish between different shapes, colors, and patterns. This ability serves them in their natural environment, where discriminating between food types and identifying suitable habitat features is important for survival. Turtles may possess some understanding of cause and effect, recognizing that certain actions lead to particular outcomes. This cognitive capacity, while limited compared to mammals, allows turtles to learn from the consequences of their behaviors. The relatively complex social behavior during breeding season suggests box turtles process social information and make decisions based on the characteristics and behaviors of other turtles. Mate choice appears to involve assessment of multiple traits rather than random pairing. Box turtles demonstrate flexibility in their daily routines, adjusting activity patterns based on weather, food availability, and reproductive status. This behavioral flexibility indicates that turtle behavior is not rigidly programmed but responsive to environmental conditions. The capacity to learn and remember over long periods, combined with impressive spatial navigation abilities, indicates that box turtle brains, though small, efficiently process and store information relevant to survival in complex woodland environments. Box turtles host a variety of parasites including ticks, mites, leeches, and internal parasites like nematodes and protozoans. In healthy turtles, these parasites are typically present at low levels that don't significantly impact turtle health or survival. Ticks commonly attach to box turtles, particularly around the soft skin of the neck, legs, and the edges where shell meets skin. While unsightly, moderate tick loads appear to be tolerated by healthy turtles, though heavy infestations could potentially cause anemia or transmit diseases. Ranavirus and other viral diseases have emerged as serious threats to some box turtle populations. These diseases can cause rapid death, and outbreaks have devastated local populations in some areas, raising concerns about disease as a conservation challenge. Respiratory infections affect box turtles, particularly those stressed by poor environmental conditions, inadequate nutrition, or other health compromises. Symptoms include nasal discharge, open-mouth breathing, and lethargy, and infections can be fatal without treatment. Shell rot, caused by bacterial or fungal infections, can affect turtles with damaged shells or those living in persistently wet conditions. These infections damage the shell structure and can penetrate to underlying bone if untreated. Internal parasites including various worms and protozoans are common in wild box turtles. Most parasites establish chronic infections that persist at manageable levels, with the turtle's immune system keeping parasite populations in check. Upper respiratory tract disease, URTD, affects box turtles and other chelonians, causing symptoms similar to colds in humans. The disease can be serious and is concerning because it can spread through populations, particularly when turtles are concentrated in areas with limited habitat. Injuries from predator attacks, mowing equipment, automobiles, and other trauma occasionally affect box turtles. While minor injuries may heal, serious shell fractures or damage to internal organs can be fatal despite the turtle's general hardiness. Nutritional deficiencies, while more common in captive turtles, can affect wild individuals in degraded habitats where food diversity is limited. Vitamin A deficiency, calcium deficiency, and protein malnutrition can all impact turtle health and reproduction. Stress suppresses box turtle immune function, making stressed individuals more susceptible to infections and diseases. Habitat degradation, frequent disturbance, and environmental extremes all create stress that can compromise turtle health. Disease surveillance programs monitor box turtle health across their range, testing for known pathogens and watching for emerging diseases. This monitoring provides early warning of health threats and tracks disease distribution across populations. Climate change may alter disease dynamics by changing pathogen distribution, affecting parasite life cycles, and influencing turtle immune function through environmental stress. Warming temperatures might allow southern diseases to extend into northern box turtle populations. Veterinary care for wild box turtles is occasionally provided by wildlife rehabilitators when injured or diseased turtles are found. These efforts can save individual turtles, though the impact on overall population health is limited unless underlying threats are addressed. Box turtles communicate primarily through visual signals and chemical cues rather than vocalizations. Head bobbing, shell positioning, and deliberate movements convey information during encounters between individuals, particularly during the breeding season. Chemical communication through scent marking may occur in box turtles, though this aspect of their biology remains poorly studied. Turtles possess well-developed olfactory capabilities suggesting scent plays a role in communication, but the details remain mysterious. During courtship, male box turtles perform elaborate behavioral displays including circling females, biting at their shells and legs, and performing a bobbing dance. These displays communicate the male's intent and may allow females to assess male quality. The hissing sound produced when box turtles rapidly withdraw into their shells may serve as an acoustic warning to predators. While not a sophisticated vocalization, this sound communicates distress or alarm and might startle predators momentarily. Body posture communicates information between box turtles. An extended neck and raised shell may signal confidence or aggression, while a tightly withdrawn posture indicates fear or submission. These postural signals allow turtles to assess each other during encounters. The bright coloration of male box turtles, particularly the red or orange eyes, likely serves a communicative function during breeding season. These colors may signal health, dominance, or genetic quality to potential mates. Shell rattling, where one turtle bumps or rams another shell, occurs during aggressive interactions. This physical contact communicates dominance or territory defense and may settle disputes without serious fighting or injury. Box turtles may communicate information through trails and scent marks left as they move through their territories. Other turtles following these trails might gain information about the presence, sex, or reproductive condition of the trailmaker. The ability to close completely within the shell communicates defiance to predators. This defensive posture signals that the turtle will not be easily consumed and may cause predators to seek easier prey. Visual displays during feeding competition, when multiple turtles discover the same food source, may establish feeding priority without physical contact. Dominant individuals may hold positions while subordinates wait or seek food elsewhere. Long-lived species like box turtles may develop individual recognition within populations, though evidence for this remains limited. If present, recognition would allow more sophisticated social interactions based on prior experience with specific individuals. Nest site selection by females may communicate information about habitat quality to other turtles. Repeatedly used nesting areas might attract additional females, though box turtle nesting is generally solitary rather than colonial. The hinged plastron represents the box turtle's primary defense mechanism. The ability to close completely within the shell provides protection that few predators can overcome, functioning as a nearly impregnable fortress against attack. Camouflage provided by complex shell patterns helps box turtles blend into forest floor backgrounds. When motionless, a box turtle shell can be remarkably difficult to spot among fallen leaves, bark, and dappled shadows. Remaining motionless when threatened often allows box turtles to avoid detection by predators. This freezing behavior relies on camouflage and the fact that many predators detect prey primarily through movement. The hard keratinous beak can deliver painful bites, providing a defensive weapon when closing in the shell is insufficient. While not aggressive, cornered box turtles may bite defensively if their primary defense fails. Box turtles may void the contents of their bladder when threatened, potentially startling predators or making themselves less attractive to handle. This defensive urination is common in many turtle species when picked up. The high domed shell provides structural strength that resists crushing forces better than flatter shells. This design makes it difficult for most predators to bite through the shell even when they can prevent the turtle from closing completely. Box turtles may attempt to wedge themselves into tight spaces when threatened, using logs, rocks, or crevices to protect their vulnerable undersides while the upper shell faces potential attackers. Escape through water, while not the primary strategy for these terrestrial turtles, occasionally occurs when turtles threatened near streams or pools dive and swim away from danger. The ability to remain sealed in their shells for extended periods allows box turtles to wait out predators. A curious coyote or raccoon may lose interest if the turtle remains closed long enough. Shell flexibility in younger turtles, while making them more vulnerable to crushing, provides some protection against predator teeth. The shell can deform somewhat under pressure and return to shape if damage is not severe. Seasonal dormancy removes box turtles from the active predator-prey landscape for months each year. Buried in hibernation chambers, turtles are largely safe from predators unless discovered by animals digging in soil. Chemical defenses through toxic or distasteful secretions do not appear to be part of the box turtle defensive strategy. Unlike some amphibians and reptiles, box turtles rely on physical rather than chemical protection. Box turtles function as ecosystem engineers in subtle ways, their activities influencing soil structure, plant distribution, and nutrient cycling. Decades of movement, digging, and foraging by individual turtles cumulatively affect their woodland homes. As predators of invertebrates, box turtles help control populations of slugs, snails, beetles, and caterpillars. This top-down predation pressure influences invertebrate community structure and may indirectly affect plant communities by controlling herbivorous insects. The role of box turtles in seed dispersal extends beyond simple transport. By consuming fruits and passing seeds through their digestive systems, turtles provide seeds with scarification that may improve germination rates while depositing them in favorable microsites with fertilizer. Box turtles concentrate nutrients through their feeding and excretion, moving nutrients from scattered sources to specific locations where they deposit waste. This nutrient redistribution occurs at small scales but accumulates over the turtle's long lifetime. As prey for certain predators, box turtles represent energy transfer from lower to higher trophic levels. While adult turtles are rarely consumed, eggs, hatchlings, and juveniles feed raccoons, possums, skunks, and various other predators. The presence of box turtle populations indicates habitat health and ecological integrity. These long-lived animals require stable, high-quality habitat to persist, making them useful indicators of ecosystem condition across broad landscapes. Box turtle shells, after death, provide calcium and minerals to decomposer communities and animals seeking mineral supplementation. The slow decomposition of shells creates persistent structures in the environment that other organisms may utilize. By creating forms, digging nests, and excavating burrows, box turtles create microhabitats that other small animals may use. These activities contribute to habitat complexity at small scales that benefit biodiversity. Box turtles participate in complex food webs where they interact with countless other species. Understanding these interactions requires seeing turtles not as isolated individuals but as nodes in networks of ecological relationships. The loss of box turtles from ecosystems could affect plant communities through reduced seed dispersal, influence invertebrate populations through reduced predation, and eliminate an important prey source for some predators, demonstrating their ecological importance. Fungi dispersed by box turtles may establish mycorrhizal relationships with tree roots, facilitating nutrient and water uptake by forest trees. This indirect effect of turtle feeding on fungi could influence forest health over broad areas. Box turtles compete with other omnivores including other turtles, birds, and mammals for food resources. These competitive interactions help structure animal communities and influence resource partitioning among species with overlapping diets. The timing of box turtle activity, concentrated in warmer months, means their ecological effects vary seasonally. Their impacts on invertebrate populations and seed dispersal occur primarily during the active season, with little effect during hibernation. Rare or isolated box turtle populations may face extinction without significantly impacting broader ecosystem function. However, widespread loss of turtles across landscapes would represent a significant change to ecosystem processes that have operated for millennia. Female box turtles typically nest between May and July, the exact timing varying with latitude and local weather conditions. The gravid female searches carefully for appropriate nest sites, assessing multiple locations before making her final choice. Nest site selection considers multiple factors including sun exposure, soil texture, drainage, and perhaps predation risk. Females appear to prefer sites that will provide optimal temperature and moisture conditions for developing eggs. The nest excavation process is laborious, with females using only their hind legs to dig. This backwards digging creates a flask-shaped chamber several inches deep, a process that may take 3 to 6 hours from start to finish. Egg laying typically occurs at night or during twilight hours, perhaps reducing detection by predators. The female carefully positions each egg in the chamber, creating a compact clutch that maximizes use of the available space. Box turtle eggs are elliptical with flexible shells, quite different from the hard-shelled eggs of birds. The leathery shell allows gas exchange while being flexible enough to accommodate the egg as the embryo grows. After completing egg laying, the female carefully covers the nest with soil, using her hind legs to tamp down the earth and disguise the location. Once finished, she returns to her normal activities with no further investment in offspring care. The incubation period lasts approximately 70 to 90 days, though this varies with temperature. Warmer nests develop faster, while cooler conditions extend incubation time, with the critical temperature for sex determination occurring during a specific period in middle incubation. Nest temperatures above approximately 82 degrees Fahrenheit during the critical period produce predominantly female hatchlings, while cooler temperatures produce males. This temperature-dependent sex determination is common in many reptile groups. Predation on box turtle nests is substantial, with many nests destroyed by raccoons, skunks, and other predators that detect nests through scent or visual cues. Nest predation rates often exceed 50%, representing significant mortality before hatching even occurs. Hatchling emergence typically occurs in late summer or early fall as temperatures cool. Baby turtles break through their eggshells using a temporary egg tooth, a small projection on the snout that falls off after serving its purpose. Some hatchlings overwinter in the nest, emerging the following spring rather than in the fall. This strategy may reduce predation risk or avoid exposing tiny turtles to environmental extremes before they have opportunities to feed and grow. The survival rate of hatchling box turtles is low, with most dying during their first year. This high mortality is compensated by the long reproductive life of females, which may produce eggs for 50 years or more. Reproductive output varies among individual females based on body size, health, food availability, and other factors. Larger females typically produce larger clutches, though clutch size is generally modest compared to many other reptile species. Box turtles require mosaics of different habitat types within their territories. Open canopy areas for basking, dense cover for shelter, varied topography for thermal refugia, and diverse plant communities for food all contribute to high-quality habitat. Water sources within box turtle territories provide drinking water and soaking opportunities. While these turtles don't require large water bodies, access to seasonal pools, small streams, or reliable puddles is important for meeting their hydration needs. Downed wood and leaf litter provide essential habitat components for box turtles. These structures offer shelter, foraging opportunities where invertebrates concentrate, and protection from weather extremes and predators. Adequate food resources distributed throughout the habitat support box turtle populations. Diverse plant and animal communities provide the varied diet box turtles need across seasons and years with different weather patterns. Suitable hibernation sites represent critical habitat components. Well-drained soils on slopes with appropriate depth and protection from extreme temperatures determine whether turtles can successfully survive winter in a given area. Nesting habitat must be present within female turtles' home ranges. Areas with appropriate sun exposure, soil texture, and drainage where females can successfully nest are essential for population reproduction and persistence. Habitat connectivity, allowing movement between different resource patches, is important for box turtles. Barriers like roads or large cleared areas fragment habitat and make it difficult for turtles to access all necessary resources. Undisturbed areas where turtles can carry out normal behaviors without frequent disturbance contribute to habitat quality. Human activity can stress turtles and disrupt foraging, mating, and other essential activities. Habitat size matters for box turtle populations. Individual turtles need several acres of suitable habitat, and viable populations require much larger areas to support enough breeding adults to maintain genetic diversity and population stability. Edge habitats where forests meet other community types often provide particularly valuable resources for box turtles. These transitional zones offer diverse food sources and varied microhabitats within small areas. Soil type influences box turtle habitat suitability through effects on drainage, ease of digging, and vegetation communities. Sandy loam soils are often preferred, providing good drainage while remaining workable for digging. Elevation and aspect affect habitat quality through influences on microclimate. South-facing slopes warm earlier in spring and stay warmer longer in fall, potentially extending the active season for turtles in those locations. Habitat management for box turtles must consider both current conditions and projected changes. Maintaining flexibility for turtles to shift their space use in response to changing conditions supports long-term population persistence. The visual world of a box turtle is rich with colors invisible to many mammals. Their superior color vision, particularly for red and orange wavelengths, reveals fruits and mushrooms as brilliant beacons against the forest floor. Box turtles likely perceive their environment as a mosaic of thermal patches, some offering warmth for basking, others providing cooling refuge. This thermal landscape shifts throughout the day and season, creating a dynamic map the turtle must navigate. The olfactory world of box turtles carries information about food, water, other turtles, and potential dangers. Scent plumes drifting through the forest guide turtles toward distant resources and warn them away from threats. Tactile sensations through the shell provide information about the turtle's immediate surroundings. The press of a log overhead, the touch of vegetation, or the contact of another turtle all register through nerve endings in the shell's living bone. Vibrations traveling through earth and air alert box turtles to approaching animals, rainfall, and other environmental events. This seismic sense provides early warning of changes in the turtle's surroundings before visual confirmation. The taste of food through chemical receptors in the mouth informs decisions about what to eat. Box turtles can distinguish between food types and may reject items that smell acceptable but taste inappropriate. Gravity and proprioception, the sense of body position, help box turtles navigate slopes, maintain balance, and orient themselves. These internal senses operate continuously, providing feedback about the turtle's relationship to its environment. Temporal perception in box turtles remains mysterious but must exist in some form. The ability to respond to seasonal changes, return to hibernation sites at appropriate times, and maintain circadian rhythms all suggest time perception. The integration of all sensory inputs creates a unified perception of the environment that guides box turtle behavior. This multisensory integration occurs in the turtle's small brain, demonstrating efficient neural processing. Box turtles may perceive magnetic fields, using Earth's magnetic field for navigation and orientation. While not definitively proven, many animals possess magnetoreception, and turtles' navigation abilities suggest this sense may exist. The sensory world of a box turtle, while different from human sensory experience, is no less rich or real. Understanding how turtles perceive their environment helps us appreciate their perspective and design better conservation strategies. Pain receptors in box turtles likely provide information about tissue damage and threats. While turtle pain perception is debated, the presence of nociceptors suggests these animals experience something analogous to pain. Environmental changes register across multiple sensory modalities for box turtles. Cooling temperatures, changing light levels, and shifts in food availability all provide cues that guide seasonal behavior changes. The omnivorous diet of box turtles shifts with seasonal food availability. Spring emphasizes animal protein from emerging invertebrates, summer includes fruits and continued invertebrate consumption, and fall focuses heavily on fruits and fungi. Earthworms represent important prey for box turtles, particularly after rainfall when worms surface in abundance. The high protein content of earthworms makes them valuable nutrition for turtles preparing for winter or recovering from hibernation. Slugs and snails, despite their slimy protection, are readily consumed by box turtles. The powerful beak easily crushes snail shells, and turtles appear unfazed by the mucus secretions that deter some predators. Beetles in various life stages, from grubs to adults, provide protein for box turtles. These insects are encountered as turtles forage through leaf litter and decaying wood where beetle larvae develop. Caterpillars offer seasonal abundance of protein, and box turtles readily consume these larvae when available. Even hairy or spiny caterpillars that deter many predators may be eaten by turtles. Wild strawberries, blackberries, raspberries, and other native fruits are eagerly consumed when ripe. The bright colors of these fruits serve as visual beacons that turtles can spot from considerable distances. Mushrooms represent an important food source, particularly in fall when fungi fruit abundantly in moist forests. Box turtles consume both mushrooms edible to humans and species toxic to people, apparently suffering no ill effects from fungal toxins. Fallen fruits from trees including cherries, apples, persimmons, and various native fruit-bearing trees provide concentrated nutrition. Turtles may remain near fruiting trees for days, gorging on this abundant resource. Carrion occasionally supplements box turtle diets. Dead animals provide concentrated protein, and turtles will feed on carrion when encountered, playing a small role in nutrient recycling through scavenging. Grass and succulent vegetation are consumed occasionally, particularly tender new growth in spring. While not a primary food source, plant material provides fiber, moisture, and some nutrients. Flowers of certain species attract box turtle attention, presumably offering nectar, pollen, or tender petals. This flower feeding may help pollinate some plant species, adding another dimension to turtle ecological roles. Insects including ants, flies, and various flying insects are captured when opportunity allows. While not as important as slower-moving invertebrates, these active prey contribute to the diverse turtle diet. Seasonal food abundance strongly influences box turtle body condition and reproductive output. Years with good fruit crops and abundant invertebrates support better turtle health and reproduction than years when food is scarce. Box turtles cannot generate internal heat like mammals, making behavioral thermoregulation essential for maintaining functional body temperatures. Every aspect of turtle ecology is constrained and shaped by thermal requirements. Morning basking raises turtle body temperature from overnight lows to levels supporting normal activity. This warming process cannot be rushed, as turtle metabolism responds gradually to increasing temperature. The high-domed shell creates a thermal mass that resists rapid temperature changes. Once warmed, turtles retain heat for extended periods, allowing continued activity even when they move into shade. Shade-seeking behavior during hot weather prevents overheating that could be fatal. Box turtles are vulnerable to heat stress and must carefully balance warming and cooling throughout each day. Mud wallowing or soaking in shallow water provides evaporative cooling during extreme heat. The moisture on the turtle's skin and shell evaporates, carrying away excess heat and helping maintain safe body temperatures. Microhabitat selection throughout the day reflects thermal needs. Turtles move between sun and shade, between exposed and sheltered locations, continuously adjusting their position to maintain preferred temperatures. The preferred body temperature range for box turtles falls between approximately 75 and 85 degrees Fahrenheit. Within this range, turtle metabolism, digestion, and immune function operate optimally. Cold snaps during the active season send box turtles into temporary dormancy. They may retreat to sheltered locations and remain inactive until temperatures warm again, demonstrating flexibility in their activity patterns. Unseasonably warm periods in fall may bring box turtles out for brief periods of activity even after normal hibernation has begun. This responsiveness to temperature can be dangerous if turtles deplete energy reserves before true winter arrives. Spring emergence is triggered primarily by warming soil temperatures as frost retreats and the earth absorbs spring sunshine. The timing of emergence varies by latitude, elevation, and local microclimate. Nighttime temperatures during the active season influence morning basking duration. Colder nights require longer warming periods, delaying the start of daily activities. The dark coloration of many box turtle shells aids solar heat absorption during basking. Lighter colored shells might reflect more solar radiation, requiring longer basking periods to achieve target temperatures. Behavioral fever, where turtles maintain elevated body temperatures when fighting infections, has been documented in some reptiles and may occur in box turtles. This behavioral immune response helps the immune system fight pathogens. The remarkable longevity of box turtles raises questions about aging and senescence. These animals can live for a century, far exceeding the lifespans of most vertebrates their size. Documented box turtles over 100 years old challenge our understanding of aging. What allows these animals to maintain function across such extended time periods remains partially mysterious. Telomeres, the protective caps on chromosomes that shorten with age in many organisms, may behave differently in turtles. Some research suggests turtles show limited telomere shortening, potentially contributing to their extended lifespans. The slow metabolism of box turtles may contribute to longevity by reducing oxidative damage from metabolic processes. The free radical theory of aging suggests slower-living animals accumulate damage more slowly. Periodic shell replacement through shedding may help remove accumulated damage. While turtles don't shed their entire shell, the gradual replacement of scuts could eliminate damaged tissue before it causes problems. Very old box turtles show physical signs of age, including worn shells, damaged scuts, and sometimes missing toes or other injuries accumulated over decades. Despite these signs, many elderly turtles remain functional and reproductive. Reproductive senescence, declining reproductive output with age, occurs in some box turtle populations. Very old females may produce fewer eggs or skip years, though some females remain reproductive into their 80s or beyond. The cellular and molecular mechanisms underlying turtle longevity are being studied to understand principles of aging. Insights from turtle biology might eventually inform human medicine and our understanding of aging processes. Environmental factors influence longevity, with turtles in optimal habitat likely living longer than those in degraded environments. Stress, poor nutrition, and exposure to toxins all potentially reduce lifespan. The oldest documented box turtle reliably aged lived over 130 years. This remarkable longevity was documented through consistent observation and records maintained over generations of human observers. Maximum lifespan potential may exceed documented cases, as truly old turtles are rarely encountered and accurately aging very old individuals is difficult. The oldest box turtles alive today may be older than we can determine. Studying turtle longevity requires patience matching that of the turtles themselves. Long-term studies tracking individual turtles across decades or generations of researchers are necessary to understand patterns of aging and mortality. The fact that box turtles can outlive humans creates unique challenges for pet owners and conservationists. Captive turtles may outlive their caregivers, requiring provisions for their continued care. Box turtle genetics reveals population structure reflecting both current geography and historical climate fluctuations. Genetic patterns preserve records of past population movements and separations invisible in the landscape today. Genetic diversity within box turtle populations varies, with some populations maintaining high diversity while others show signs of genetic bottlenecks or inbreeding. This variation affects population viability and adaptive potential. Microsatellite markers and other genetic tools allow researchers to determine parentage, identify individuals, assess genetic diversity, and understand gene flow between populations. These molecular techniques complement traditional field studies. Hybridization between different box turtle species or subspecies occasionally occurs, particularly where human activities have moved turtles beyond natural ranges. These hybrids demonstrate genetic compatibility between lineages separated for thousands of years. Sex chromosomes in box turtles remain mysterious. Unlike mammals and birds with distinct sex chromosomes, turtles with temperature-dependent sex determination may lack differentiated sex chromosomes, with sex determined by gene expression patterns triggered by temperature. Genetic adaptation to local conditions may occur across box turtle ranges. Populations in different environments might show genetic differences reflecting adaptations to local temperatures, precipitation, or food availability. Conservation genetics guides management decisions by revealing which populations need protection to preserve genetic diversity. Genetically unique populations may merit special conservation priority to maintain overall species diversity. Gene flow between populations, revealed through genetic analysis, indicates connectivity across landscapes. Limited gene flow suggests barriers to movement that could threaten population viability in changing conditions. Inbreeding depression, where mating between relatives reduces offspring fitness, threatens small, isolated box turtle populations. Maintaining population sizes large enough to avoid inbreeding is an important conservation goal. Genetic rescue, introducing individuals from one population to another to increase genetic diversity, has been proposed for some declining box turtle populations. However, this strategy carries risks including outbreeding depression and disease transmission. Ancient DNA from fossil box turtles could reveal genetic changes over evolutionary time, showing how turtle genomes responded to past climate changes. Such information might predict how current populations will respond to ongoing changes. The box turtle genome has not been fully sequenced, but work toward this goal could reveal genetic basis of longevity, temperature-dependent sex determination, and adaptations to terrestrial life. The annual cycle of box turtle life follows nature's rhythms with precise timing developed over countless generations. Each season brings distinct challenges and opportunities that shape turtle behavior and physiology. Winter dormancy represents 1/3 to 1/2 of the year for most box turtle populations. This extended period of inactivity is not wasted time but essential adaptation, allowing survival in temperate climates with harsh winters. Spring emergence marks rebirth and renewal as turtles return to active life. The first feeds after months of fasting, the first drinks after winter dehydration, and the first basks in spring sunshine all represent critical moments in the turtle's year. Breeding season concentrates in spring and early summer when food becomes abundant and females need to build reserves for egg production. The timing ensures eggs will incubate during warm summer months and hatchlings emerge when conditions favor survival. Summer abundance allows box turtles to feed heavily and store fat that will carry them through winter and support reproduction. This is the time of growth for young turtles and reproduction for adults, making summer critical for population maintenance. Fall preparation accelerates as days shorten and temperatures cool. Turtles feed intensively, particularly on energy-rich fruits and nuts, storing reserves that must sustain them through months of hibernation. The transition to hibernation is gradual, with activity decreasing over weeks as turtles respond to environmental cues. Temperature, day length, and food availability all signal the approaching need to cease activity and seek winter shelter. Seasonal movements may occur as turtles travel between summer foraging areas and hibernation sites. These movements, though typically short, represent important components of turtle spatial ecology. Weather variability adds complexity to seasonal patterns. Early or late frosts, droughts, cool summers, and warm winters all create challenges that box turtles must navigate to survive. Photoperiod, the length of day and night, provides reliable seasonal cues that don't vary from year to year like temperature and rainfall. Turtles may use day length to anticipate seasonal changes and time important activities appropriately. Multi-year cycles in food availability, such as mast years when oaks produce exceptional acorn crops, create temporal variation in resource abundance. Turtles must navigate both predictable seasonal patterns and less predictable year-to-year variation. The seasonal cycle repeats throughout a turtle's life, each repetition adding another ring to the scuts, another year of experience, another chapter in a life that may span a century of seasons. Box turtle home ranges vary in size from less than 2 acres to over 10 acres depending on habitat quality, sex, season, and individual variation. Males typically maintain larger ranges than females, reflecting different life history strategies. Daily movement distances are typically modest, with turtles traveling 50 to 200 meters per day during normal activity. However, some individuals, particularly males during breeding season, may travel much farther in search of mates. Movement patterns are not random wandering but purposeful travel between known resources. Turtles follow established routes connecting feeding sites, basking spots, shelter locations, and water sources within their territories. Barriers to movement including roads, walls, and cleared areas fragment box turtle habitat and restrict access to resources. Even barriers easily crossed by other animals may impede turtles due to their slow movement and vulnerability on exposed surfaces. Seasonal shifts in range use occur as turtles move between summer foraging areas and hibernation sites or as food availability changes across the year. These shifts demonstrate flexibility within the constraints of home range fidelity. Young turtles establish home ranges as they mature, a process that may take several years. How juveniles select their territories and whether they settle near their natal sites or disperse remains incompletely understood. Overlap between individual home ranges is common, with multiple turtles utilizing the same general areas. However, at finer scales, turtles may use different specific locations within the shared area, partitioning resources temporally or spatially. Core areas within home ranges receive disproportionate use, representing locations with particularly valuable resources or optimal habitat conditions. These core areas may shift seasonally as resource distribution changes. Edge effects influence box turtle movement, with turtles using habitat edges between different forest types or between forest and open areas more intensively than random movement would predict. Displacement from home ranges, whether through natural causes like flooding or human actions like collection and release, usually results in turtles attempting to return home. This homing behavior can lead to death if the distance is too great or obstacles too severe. Movement rate decreases with age, with older turtles moving shorter distances than younger adults. This age-related change may reflect behavioral shifts, physical limitations, or better knowledge of local resources, reducing the need for extensive searching. Tracking studies using radio telemetry reveal the complexity of box turtle spatial behavior. Patterns invisible to casual observation emerge from data on movement paths, space use intensity, and habitat selection. Box turtles are fundamentally solitary animals, with most individuals spending the majority of their time alone. Social interactions are brief and occur primarily during the breeding season or when multiple turtles use the same limited resources. Dominance hierarchies may exist within local box turtle populations, with some individuals consistently dominating others during encounters. These relationships could affect access to resources, though evidence for stable hierarchies remains limited. Breeding aggregations form when multiple males compete for access to females. These temporary gatherings represent the most intense social interactions box turtles typically experience, with displays, courtship, and occasionally aggressive encounters. Communal hibernation sites where multiple turtles overwinter together might facilitate social learning or mate finding in spring. However, turtles at these sites don't interact during hibernation, only potentially encountering each other at emergence. Mother-offspring relationships are brief, ending when females cover their nests and depart. Baby turtles never meet their mothers and receive no parental care, facing the world as fully independent miniature adults from the moment of hatching. Sibling relationships beyond shared parentage don't exist in box turtle society. Nest mates disperse upon emergence with no special association or recognition of their relatedness to each other. Sex ratios within populations may influence social dynamics, with male-biased populations potentially experiencing more intense male-male competition. Temperature-dependent sex determination means sex ratios can shift over time with changing climate. Individual recognition between turtles that regularly encounter each other may occur, allowing more sophisticated social interactions based on past experience. However, evidence for recognition abilities in box turtles remains limited. Agonistic behaviors including head bobbing, shell ramming, and biting occur during male-male competition for females. These contests rarely result in serious injury, with losers typically retreating before escalation to dangerous fighting. Courtship interactions between males and females involve assessment and choice. Females appear to evaluate multiple male characteristics before accepting or rejecting courtship attempts, exercising mate choice that influences male reproductive success. Cooperative behaviors are essentially absent from box turtle social systems. Each individual operates independently, pursuing its own survival and reproduction without assisting others except through the indirect provision of genetic diversity to the population. The solitary nature of box turtles reflects their ecology as long-lived animals in environments where resources are distributed such that territoriality or group living offers no advantages over independent foraging. Rising temperatures associated with climate change threaten to skew box turtle sex ratios toward females as warmer nest temperatures produce female-biased offspring. Extreme female skews could reduce population reproductive potential over time. Changing precipitation patterns affect box turtle habitat quality through influences on food availability, water sources, and vegetation communities. Increased drought frequency could reduce turtle survival and reproduction in some areas. Earlier spring warming may advance turtle emergence from hibernation, potentially exposing them to late frost events. Phenological mismatches between turtle activity and food availability could also result from shifted seasonal timing. More frequent extreme weather events including heat waves, severe storms, and intense droughts pose direct threats to box turtles. These extremes can cause mortality and stress that reduces health and reproductive success. Habitat shifts in response to climate change may outpace box turtle ability to track suitable conditions. Slow dispersal and strong home range fidelity mean turtles cannot easily relocate as local conditions deteriorate. Interactions between climate change and other threats like habitat loss may create synergistic impacts exceeding the sum of individual stressors. Turtles stressed by degraded habitat may be less able to cope with climate-related challenges. Poleward and upward range shifts might allow box turtles to colonize previously unsuitable areas as those regions warm. However, dispersal barriers and lack of suitable habitat may prevent turtles from accessing these potential refuges. Changes in plant communities driven by climate shifts will affect box turtle food availability. If key food plants can't adapt or disperse quickly enough, turtles may face nutritional challenges in changing ecosystems. Longer growing seasons in some regions might benefit box turtles by extending the period for feeding and growth. However, benefits could be offset by increased heat stress, drought, or other negative impacts. Disease distribution and virulence may change with climate, potentially exposing box turtles to new pathogens or increasing disease impacts from existing pathogens. Warmer temperatures might favor some parasites and disease organisms. Conservation strategies must incorporate climate change considerations, protecting climate refugia, facilitating movement through habitat corridors, and managing landscapes to maintain habitat quality despite changing conditions. Monitoring programs tracking box turtle populations provide early warning of climate change impacts. Changes in sex ratios, survival rates, reproductive success, and population size can indicate climate-related stresses. Box turtle lungs are positioned just beneath the carapace, attached to the shell's interior surface. This placement protects these vital organs while the ribs fused into the shell prevent the costal breathing mechanism used by other reptiles. Ventilation of the lungs occurs through movements of limb girdles and body wall muscles rather than rib movements. When turtles pull limbs in and push them out, pressure changes within the body cavity move air in and out of the lungs. Breathing rate varies with temperature, activity level, and metabolic demands. Active, warm turtles breathe more frequently than cool, resting individuals, reflecting increased oxygen demands during activity. The ability to hold breath for extended periods, inherited from aquatic ancestors, allows box turtles to remain sealed in their shells for hours if necessary. During this time, oxygen stores in blood and tissues sustain minimal metabolic needs. Gas exchange in box turtle lungs is less efficient than in mammalian lungs, but adequate for their lower metabolic rates. The structure of reptile lungs, with large chambers rather than tiny alveoli, differs significantly from mammalian lung architecture. During hibernation, breathing slows to barely detectable levels. A hibernating turtle might take only a breath or two per hour, with metabolic suppression reducing oxygen requirements to a tiny fraction of active season needs. Cutaneous respiration, gas exchange through the skin, likely contributes minimally to box turtle oxygen uptake. Unlike some amphibians and aquatic turtles that exchange significant gases through skin, box turtles rely primarily on lung breathing. The cloaca can absorb small amounts of oxygen from water, a capability some aquatic turtles use extensively. Whether box turtles utilize cloacal respiration significantly remains unclear, though the anatomical capacity exists. Respiratory diseases affecting box turtles impair this vital function. Upper respiratory tract disease, pneumonia, and other conditions can be fatal if they severely compromise breathing or lung function. Air quality affects box turtle respiratory health. Exposure to smoke, pollution, or irritating chemicals can damage lung tissue and reduce respiratory efficiency, potentially contributing to disease susceptibility. The nostrils of box turtles serve as air intake passages, but unlike mammals, turtles lack complex nasal turbinates for warming and filtering air. The simpler reptilian nose reflects different physiological priorities. Vocalization is limited in box turtles partly because breathing mechanics don't favor sound production. The hiss produced during shell withdrawal is the only common sound, created by forced air expulsion rather than specialized sound-producing structures. Understanding box turtle respiration helps in recognizing health problems and appreciating the physiological constraints under which these animals operate. Breathing, so automatic for mammals, is accomplished quite differently in these ancient reptiles. Box turtles demonstrate remarkable healing capacity, recovering from injuries that would be fatal to many animals. Shell fractures, bite wounds, and other trauma can heal with appropriate conditions, though severe injuries may leave permanent damage. The shell's living tissue can regenerate to some degree after injury. New bone and keratin grow to repair damages, though healed areas may remain visible as irregularities or color differences long after healing completes. Infection represents a major risk after injuries, particularly shell wounds that penetrate to underlying tissues. The turtle's immune system must overcome bacterial and fungal colonization of wound sites to enable successful healing. Scarring on old box turtles tells stories of survival. Each healed wound, each repaired shell fracture, each missing scute represents a challenge overcome, a brush with death survived through the turtle's resilience. Wildlife rehabilitators occasionally treat injured box turtles, providing medical care including wound cleaning, antibiotics, and shell repair. These interventions can save individual turtles, though the impact on populations is limited. Natural healing occurs when injured turtles survive without human intervention. The process is slow but often successful for moderate injuries if the turtle can avoid further trauma and infection during recovery. Missing toes, tail tips, or pieces of shell on old box turtles usually represent healed injuries from decades past. These permanent reminders of close calls don't necessarily reduce the turtle's survival or reproductive success. The relationship between injury severity and survival is complex. Some apparently severe injuries heal successfully, while seemingly minor wounds prove fatal if infection develops. Luck and the turtle's immune competence both play roles. Predator attacks leave characteristic injury patterns. Bite marks from mammals, beak wounds from birds, or crushing injuries from vehicles each create distinct damage, allowing retrospective identification of the threat. Road injuries represent a significant proportion of box turtle trauma in modern landscapes. Collisions with vehicles create shell fractures, internal injuries, and often death, making roads major mortality sources for many populations. Behavioral changes may follow serious injuries. Traumatized turtles might become more cautious, or injuries might impair movement, affecting the turtle's ability to forage, find mates, or escape dangers. Documentation of injuries in wild populations provides information about threats and survival challenges. Patterns of injuries across populations can reveal which threats are most significant in different areas. Raccoons represent perhaps the most significant predator of box turtle eggs and hatchlings. Their dexterous paws and keen noses allow them to locate and excavate nests, while their strength enables them to crack shells of small turtles. Skunks also prey heavily on turtle nests, digging up eggs and consuming contents. Like raccoons, skunks have excellent senses of smell that help them locate buried nests despite female turtles' efforts at concealment. Possums opportunistically prey on turtle eggs and small turtles when encountered. While perhaps less specialized as turtle predators than raccoons, possums contribute to nest mortality across box turtle ranges. Crows and ravens attack hatchling and juvenile box turtles, using their strong beaks to penetrate shells. These intelligent birds learn to recognize turtles as food and may specifically search for vulnerable individuals. Fire ants attack turtles unable to escape, including hatchlings emerging from nests, injured adults, or turtles in burrows. The ants' venomous stings can kill even adult turtles in extreme cases of infestation. Domestic dogs kill box turtles they encounter, either through predatory behavior or rough play. Even if the turtle survives the initial encounter, injuries may prove fatal later from infection or impaired function. Adult box turtles have few natural predators due to their protective shells. However, determined predators including coyotes and bobcats occasionally kill adult turtles, using strength and persistence to overcome shell protection. Snakes occasionally consume very small box turtle hatchlings, though turtles grow quickly beyond sizes vulnerable to snake predation. Larger snake species may pose threats to hatchlings for a few weeks after emergence. Red-tailed hawks and other large raptors sometimes attack box turtles, attempting to break shells by dropping them from heights or using powerful talons. Success depends on turtle size and the raptor's skill and strength. Feral hogs, in areas where they occur, destroy turtle nests while rooting through soil for food. These invasive mammals have devastating impacts on ground nesting species including box turtles. Historical predators that no longer exist in most box turtle habitat include gray wolves and mountain lions. The loss of these apex predators may have shifted predator communities and altered pressures on turtle populations. Human-associated predators like cats, dogs, and urban-adapted raccoons and possums may exert higher predation pressure than natural predator communities, particularly in suburban and exurban areas where turtle habitat overlaps with human development. Foraging box turtles move deliberately through their territories, investigating potential food items encountered along familiar routes. The slow pace allows careful assessment of everything encountered, from mushrooms to invertebrates to fallen fruits. Visual search for brightly colored fruits and mushrooms guides much box turtle foraging. The turtle scans its surroundings as it moves, occasionally deviating from its path toward colorful objects that might represent food. Olfactory search complements visual foraging, with turtles using scent to locate food hidden beneath leaves or soil. A turtle may stop and perform gular pumping movements, sampling air for food scents before digging or investigating further. Investigation of potential food involves approaching, visually examining, and often tentatively tasting before deciding whether to consume an item. This careful assessment helps turtles avoid non-food items and select preferred foods when choices exist. Feeding technique varies with food type. Mushrooms are bitten into pieces and consumed, fruits are torn apart and eaten, mobile prey is captured with quick bites, and tough items may be torn by shaking the head or bracing against surfaces. Foraging efficiency improves with experience as turtles learn which food types are rewarding and where different foods can be found. Young turtles must learn these lessons through trial and error across their first seasons of independent life. Food preferences exist, with individual turtles showing consistent likes and dislikes. These preferences may reflect early experiences, genetic variation in taste receptors, or learned associations between foods and nutritional outcomes. Patch use decisions determine how long turtles remain in areas with concentrated food versus moving to search for new resources. Optimal foraging theory predicts turtles should leave patches when intake rate falls below average intake rate across the habitat. Seasonal shifts in diet reflect changing food availability more than changing preferences. Turtles consume what is available, with spring emphasizing animal prey, summer offering both prey and fruits, and fall dominated by fruits and fungi. Food storage in body fat allows box turtles to temporarily decouple food intake from energy expenditure. Fat accumulated during abundant times sustains turtles through winter hibernation and periods when food is scarce. Drinking occurs opportunistically when turtles encounter water. They may also obtain moisture from succulent foods, though free water is needed periodically for adequate hydration, particularly during hot weather. Foraging time occupies a substantial portion of each active day for box turtles. Even with their low metabolic rates, finding and consuming adequate food requires consistent effort throughout the active season. The carapace, the upper shell, consists of approximately 50 bones including modified ribs, vertebrae, and dermal bones all fused together into a protective dome. This bony structure is covered by keratinous scuts that grow from specialized skin tissue. The plastron, the lower shell, consists of bones derived from the turtle's clavicles, interclavicle, and gastralia, bones found in the belly region of other reptiles. The plastron's hinge, allowing it to move upward, represents a specialized joint between shell sections. Scuts, the shield-shaped plates covering the bone, are made of keratin and grow continuously from the edges. Each scute overlaps with neighboring scuts, creating a continuous protective surface over the bony shell. The bridge connecting the carapace and plastron creates an opening through which the turtle's limbs, head, and tail extend. This architectural challenge of creating openings while maintaining structural strength is solved through careful positioning of bones and ligaments. Shell growth occurs from the edges of bones and from specialized growth zones beneath scuts. This growth allows hatchling turtles smaller than walnuts to grow into adults weighing a pound or more, all while maintaining the shell's protective function. The shell's color and pattern result from pigments in both the scuts and the underlying bone. The complex patterns seen on box turtle shells emerge from the distribution of melanins and other pigments during scute formation. Blood vessels and nerves run through the bony shell, making it living tissue that can feel stimuli and respond to injury. This living shell requires nutrients and can become diseased or damaged like any other body part. The sutures between shell bones are visible on the inner surface and allow slight flexibility in young turtles. As turtles mature, these sutures increasingly ossify, creating a more rigid structure that trades some flexibility for increased strength. Shell strength derives from the dome shape, which distributes forces efficiently, and from the layered construction of bone and keratin. This biocomposite material provides protection against biting, crushing, and piercing attacks. Damage to the shell can expose underlying tissue to infection and compromise protection. However, the shell's capacity for healing and regeneration often allows recovery from injuries that initially appear devastating. The evolutionary history of the turtle shell involves modification of the basic reptilian skeleton in ways seen in no other vertebrate group. This unique anatomy represents one of nature's most successful innovations in vertebrate defense. Shell morphology varies among box turtle species and subspecies, with some having higher domes, others more flattened profiles. These variations reflect different selective pressures in different habitats and likely affect predation risk and thermoregulation.